Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to introduce Python lists. So lists are very important data type in Python. I have used them at multiple places. They are very convenient to use. I'll tell you a lot of details about Python list, like how to use the methods given by Python. Okay, and everything will be available in the comment section. And guys, if you have not watched my previous videos, please do like and subscribe the videos. The agenda is in front of you. Let's Before going to the methods of the Python, first assume what are lists. So basically list in Python are collection of elements. Like, so it's an object array where the elements of a list can be heterogeneous, like you can have an integer as well as a string within the same list. Okay, how to declare a list? We can declare a list using square brackets like this. This is our simple list. If we do print type of a comma a, let's run this code guys. Here you can see when I ask for the type, it shows that it is of list class. Now if you don't know why how to use the type function, you can watch my previous video. Okay, so also you can print the 1 3 and 5. So now let's I have listed down some properties here, like lists, and now let me demonstrate uh, each property by an example. So let's take the first example. Lists are ordered. So lists are an ordered element. What do you mean by ordered? So like we have defined an element as 1 3 and 5 uh, for the list A. So let's test if 1 comma 3 comma 5 equals to 5 comma 3 comma 1. Let's run that. Here you can see false is printed. That proves our point that lists are an ordered elements. Lists contain ordered elements. So if the order of the elements change, it will be a different list. Okay, so these are the properties of the list. Before we move on to the methods of the list, I want to ensure that you guys have full idea of what a list is and where to use them. Now let's move to the second object. Lists can contain arbitrary objects. That means a list can have an integer as well as a string as well as a float value, and it will still work. Let's print it. Here you can see we received no error. That means the list can contain arbitrary objects. Okay, let me comment out these lines. The third property is this: list elements can be accessed by index. So as we have defined earlier, let's keep the list. Now let's try to access its second element. See if we can access it by its index value. So index always starts from 0. So the first element will be at 0 index. Okay, let's run that. Here you can see the second element is printed. So it proves that lists can be accessed by their indexes. Okay, lists can be nested. What does that mean? That means a list can have multiple lists within the list. Let's define one more list which will have a list A as well as another list comma 4 comma 6. Let's try to print it. Here you can see guys, so our list B contains 135, which is a list, as well as 246. So it proves the property of the list that the list can be nested. Okay guys, Coming to one more point, lists are mutable. So what do we mean by mutable here? That the properties of the object can be changed. Like if you can see earlier, we have defined list A as 1, 3, comma 5. Let's try to change its second element to change and try to print A here. So if the list is mutable, the second element, which is 3, should be changed to change. Here you go. Oh, sorry, I changed the third element. So you can see the element has been changed. So this proves that the lists are mutable. Let's comment this and move to the next one. Lists are dynamic, which is again an important. So what do we mean by dynamic? The meaning dynamic makes it doesn't have a fixed size. As soon as we keep on adding elements, the if we keep on adding elements, the list will keep expanding in size. That's what the dynamic means. Sorry. Sorry. Probably I'll have to use the extend method here or other append. I'll tell you about these methods first. Just let now see the properties. Here you can see we can easily append the values to a list and we can keep on appending it. Okay, guys. So these are the properties of the list that we can use. Now I'll tell you how to operate on lists. Don't worry, guys, these all things will be in the video description section, so you can refer there. Nothing, no, don't worry about noting anything. So now, guys, I'll tell you how you can add elements to a list. So there are three methods for adding elements to a list. One is append, another one is insert, and the next one is extend. So I'll start with the append method. So how does append work? So whenever you want to add an element to a list, you can use the element. If you remember, we have initialized the a list earlier. Let's take the list here so that it is easier. So if you want to add one more element to this list, you can simply use a dot append 6 print. You can see the 6 is added to the list. Okay, but append doesn't allow you to add the element with in between the list. Append only adds elements to the end of the list. That's where the insert module comes in. Let's use the insert. E dot insert. Now for insert, so here you need to define where to add that. Suppose you want to add it at the beginning of the list, and you have to define at what position should we add it. Here you can see the hello is inserted to the beginning of the list. You can change this index value to be anything. Okay, guys. Now insert allows you so append allows you to add an element to the end of the list. Insert extended that feature to append that element anywhere. But the problem with the insert and append is they only allow you to insert one element at a time. While if you want to use append multiple elements, we are going to use extend method. Let's use that. Extend basically extends the list. Let's run that. Here you can see 7, 8, 9 are added to the list. So there is one more restriction with extend, that extend also appends to the end of the list. If you want to insert in between the list, you have to use the insert method and have to do that one by one. So guys, I have already told you how to access the elements by its index in the previous section. So now let me tell you how the negative indexing works. So as you know that the zero is the starting position of the element. If we use negative index, then we get the element from the last. Let me demonstrate that. Let's use -1. Here you can see it printed 5. So the -1 will be the first position from the last. If you use -2, it will print out the 3, and it works recursively. So if you give -4, yeah, it will give the list index out of range because there is no fourth element from the last. Okay, so there is a traditional way of accessing it using the positive index. Then there is another method of using it using the negative index, which accesses elements from the last of the list. Now let's see how to remove elements from the list. So guys, there are two methods to remove the elements from the list: remove and pop. So let's first use the remove. For removing an element, you should know which element to remove. Then only you will be able to remove the element. Oh, sorry. Here you can see we have removed the element 3. If you give something which is not present in the list, yeah, so the X is not in the list, and error will be thrown, value error. Okay, guys. So for removing the element, you should know what is the value of the element. While the pop a dot pop the pop method does not take any input. It simply removes the last element from the list, whatever it is. It doesn't worry about the value and everything. It just removes the last element. Here you can see the 5 is removed from the list. Also guys, if you want to know the size of the list, you can use the length method, or rather, yeah, here you go. It has 3 elements. This is really useful when you want to run a for loop inside a list. You should know the length of the list. Okay, you can similarly use the max and min methods. I think I don't need to describe here because everybody know what does max and min do. You can see. Okay, guys. Similarly, one more feature where you can sort the list. Sorry, since it is a method, let's use the sort method. So rather e dot sort. Sorting returns none. Surprisingly. Okay, guys. So this is all about list. I'll paste everything there in the description section. Please like and subscribe this video. Also watch other videos from the list. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So previously I have made a video about list and sets along with the frozen set. Today I am going to tell you how dictionaries work in Python. So dictionaries are very similar to list in terms of properties. They can contain immutable they contain immutable objects. They can shrink and they can expand based on your comfort. Okay, and they're also like unordered. Okay, let's see how you can define a dictionary. So what basically dictionary type is? It is similar to the dictionary that we use to figure out whether you have used any phone book dictionary or an language dictionary. Dictionary is similar to that. You just need a key value. You just need dictionaries contains key value pairs in them. So if you know the key, you can get the value. Like if I want to find the name of Mr. James. So I should know the name of Mr. James. I'll search with that key and I'll get the phone number of that. Okay. Let's see how you can initialize a dictionary. So there are two ways of declaring. Simply, you can simply declare a variable as dictionary using the dict keyword, or if you don't want to use the keyword, just find this. Let's see whether these are really dictionary type or not. Here you go. You can see both the variables are of dictionary type. So these two are the ways of of declaring an in a dictionary. So let's see, now we have declared a dictionary. Let's see how we can initialize a dictionary. Here you go. So here you go. Using that keyword, you can initialize a dictionary like this. Let's try to run this code. Here you go. So this is how a dictionary is printed. So you can initialize a dictionary like this. Okay. So this is all about dictionary initialization and declaration. Let's see how you can access an element of a dictionary. So for accessing an element of a dictionary, you can only access it using the key values. So this is a key value pair. The first part is the key and the second part is the value. So if you want to access the element, okay, you have to use the key. Our key is x, and this, here you can see 20 is printed for x. Similarly, if you want to print the value corresponding to b to y, we will use the y key. You can see. So for accessing the elements mean a key value pair. You have to use the key as an argument to fetch the value. Okay, guys. So now there are some other operations that we can do on the list. Some we have clear, get, items, and all those. Okay, so let's start with clear. What will clear do? Clear will clear all the elements of the list. You can say none is printed because we have cleared the list. Then we have get. Getting, again, it is similar to using the subscript notion. Okay, let's see, turn to is printed again. Let me remove this so that it doesn't create confusion. You can see the value corresponding to x is printed. This is similar to the subscript notation, where you can use the square brackets to get the value. Okay, we have items. What items will do? It will print the entire list. Sorry, it will print the entire dictionary. You can see all the items are returned. We have keys. The keys method will return all the keys. So if you don't know what all keys are present in a dictionary object, you can call the keys method to that. And you can see it is telling you that, okay, so you can see each method has a corresponding return type. It has ticked items, it has ticked keys, so you can perform more operations on that. Okay, similarly a values method will return the values. Right after this, you can see values, keys. Okay, if you want to remove a key, you can use the pop method. Let's see, I want to remove the pop. Also print x after that. You can see after we have popped the y, only x is remaining in the key. So these are some of the operations that we can perform on dictionaries. Let's add one more agenda to our video: restrictions. So if there is already a key present in the dictionary and you went on and add another key, which is same to the previous key, then what it will do, it will not return you an error. It will simply override the value. Yes, it will simply override the existing value. Okay, because dictionary. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today we are going to discuss about sets. Earlier we have discussed about list. You can watch that video. It was in the playlist section. Okay, so what are sets? So sets are basically same as list. They are just an unordered collection. So similar to list, sets can also have more than one data type. Like we can have an integer and as well as a string within the same set. Now let's see how you can define a set. You can define a set using the set keyword. This is how you define a set. After this, our X will be a set. Let's check whether X is a set or not. If we run that, you can see the class is of set type. So X is now a set. You can also initialize a set using the curly braces like this. Let's see if this is a set or not. Here you go. X is again a set. So you can follow both the approaches or any based um, on your comfort. Okay, but the second approach is the recommended approach where you use curly braces. If you don't want to initialize that, just remove the curly braces and keep it just like this. It will also initialize the X as a set. Okay guys, so let's now discuss about some of the properties of a set. What are properties of the set? Here you go. So these are the properties of a set. Number one, sets are unordered. Unlike lists, where lists are ordered, where the lists are ordered, sets are unordered. That means there is no significance of an order in set. So 1 2 3 will be equal to 3 2 1. Okay. Now let's just prove our point whether whatever we are saying is this correct or not. Let's check. If really 1 2 3 in a set is equal to 3 2 1, 2 comma 3, let's define another set y 3 comma 2 comma 1. Now just check if x is equals to y, and let's run it. Here you can see guys, so the return is true. That means sets are unordered elements. Let's also check this hypothesis in the list. If they are equal, here you can see guys, so the lists are not ordered. Lists are ordered and sets are unordered. That's why a equal to b came as false and x equal to y came as true. Remember this property of the set. Next is set elements are unique. Duplicate elements are not allowed. This statement is self-explanatory, but and I would like to demonstrate it with an example. Let's comment it out. Let's call a set x. Let's assign 1 1 2 3 3 5. Let's try to print it and see if it contains duplicate or not. Here you can see all the duplicate elements have been removed. This proves our hypothesis that okay, the sets do not contain duplicate elements. Then number third, a set itself may be modified, but the elements contained in the set must be of an immutable type. What does this mean? You can modify a set, but the elements that are in the set you cannot modify them. Let's see. Now let's try to change the value of 2 to 4. So we are changing the value of 2 to 4 within a set. Let's run that. Here you can see we have received an error. Set object does not support item assignment. Set object do not support item assignment. That proves the concept that set, you can modify a set, like you can delete the element, you can add the element, but the elements of the set you cannot modify. They should be of an immutable type. Okay guys, so I think this proves all the properties of the sets. So we are done with the set properties. Now let's see how we can play with the sets. So these are the five main methods that are used on a set: add, remove, pop, clear. With the help of add method, we can add an element to the set. Let's call a set as, let's use the add method to add 4 and x. You can see the 1 2 3 has been modified to 1 2 3 4. Let's try to remove 3 from the set. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you can see 3 has been removed from the set. So add and remove are quite simple. Pop, what pop will do? Pop will basically take out the last element from the set. Let's check that as well. Oh, sorry. Pop will take out that first element from the set. I'm really sorry for that. So the one has been removed. Clear will simply clear all the elements. Here you can say when all the elements are clear, only the empty object is remaining there. And length will give you the length of the set, like the number of elements in the set. For that, let's again reassign the set to 1 2 3. Print length of x. Here you can see the output is 3. That means the set has 3 elements. So these are the normal operations that we perform on set. Now guys, because of these properties, there are some restrictions on the set. So let us see how you can convert a set to a list. Let's define a set. Define another list. Simply convert a set to a list or a list to a set using their parent keyword. Like if you want to convert a set to a list, use the list keyword. If you want to convert a list to a set, use the set keyword. Let's print y. Here you can see the returned output is now a list. It has square brackets instead of the curly braces. Also, if you want to check whether an element is present or not, you can check it. Print one in x. In is will be used to check whether that element is present or not. Here you can see it printed true. Let's check for something else. Print 33 in x. Here you go, false is printed. So in using the in keyword, you can check whether an element is present in the set or not. This is an important annotation. This is an important keyword because it is used mainly in programming. There is one more concept, guys, which is of frozen sets. So, what is the difference between set and a frozen set? So, frozen sets are itself immutable. You cannot modify a frozen set. So, what is the use of frozen sets in programming? Suppose you want to define some constants which you don't want to be modified across the application, which are like your global variables. Okay, so you define them as a frozen set such that it will not be it cannot be modified by any application, okay, across any methods. Let's see how you define a frozen set. So for defining a frozen set, it takes an iterator variable. Here you guys, so like the set, frozen sets are also defined using the frozen set keyword, and they take iterator as an argument. Here you can see when I have used, so when I try to print it, it is clearly telling me that it is a frozen set. It is a frozen set of a list set, so you cannot basically modify it. Let's try to modify the set x dot add 4. It should ideally give us an error. Here you go, guys. The frozen set object has no attribute add. Since the frozen set object has no attribute to add, they cannot be modified. Okay, guys, so this is an important part of the sets. Please do like and subscribe this video. If you have not seen my previous video on list, please go and watch that video. Thank you guys for watching. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So until now we have seen list, we have seen dictionary, we have seen tuple, but the problem with all these data types are they can store any type of value. Like they can have integer, they can have float, they can have string within the same variable, right? So what if we want to restrict that? So we just want to have either strings or integer or floats into our variable. That's when we use arrays. Arrays are most common in the Java and C programming language, but here in Python we use list in the place of an array to do that. But if you want to enforce that restriction of the data type, then you use an array. So how to, let's see how we can simply initialize an array. We have to import the array. Let's define a variable x which will be array dot array. Then like array as I said that you have to enforce the data type here, so you have to tell Python which type of array is this. Is it an integer array or a float array? We are now, for now we are initializing an integer array. For I you have to use, for integer array, let's call it this. Try to print x and also print type of x. So if you have not seen my previous videos, type method determines the class of the underlying object. Here you can see. So this is the array which is initialized. Array, the class is array.array. Okay, so this is an variable. Let's see what if we try to push 1.2 here, a float value. Here you can see integer argument expected got float. So with this way, we can enforce the restriction on the data type for a variable. Okay. Let me put the agenda in the header section first. Okay, so I have added the agenda in the header section. Let's see. So we have already initialized an our array. Okay. Let's initialize one more array which will be of float type. For initializing float array, we use small d. Okay. Here you go. You can see both the arrays are initialized properly. Now let's see how we can add elements to array. So there are two methods for adding elements. First is insert and second is append. So using the insert method like list, you can insert value at any point in the array. Okay, let's see how we can do that. X dot insert. Let's add 4 at second position. Y dot insert. Let's add 0.3 at first position. Print X and Y. Oh, sorry. You can see the second is inserted at the fourth element and point 3 is inserted at the first place. So as you know, array index start at 0. That's why point 3 came at the second place. Okay. So this is how insert method works. How append works? Append basically works by appending the element to the last of the array. Okay, so if we do x dot append, we do not need to provide anything because it will eventually append at the end. So this, here you can see 6 is appended and 9.1 is appended at the end of the array. So this is how you can add elements to the array. So the next point is how you can remove the elements from the array. So there are two methods. Pop will pop the element at the specified location. So if you give e dot pop 2, it will take out 2. E dot pop 2, it will take out 2.2. Sorry, 3 and 3.4. Not a, sorry, x and y. You can see. So second index is the last third element of the array. So 3 is gone. Similarly, 3.4 is also gone. Okay, so pop will pop the particular element with pop will pop the element at the particular index that we are passing. Okay, next is remove. So remove works slightly differently. I'll tell you how. I'm adding one more element which is the copy of another element. So if I do x dot remove 2.2 and x dot remove 2, let's see. Here you can see. So what remove does it will remove the first occurrence of that particular element. So if I do x dot remove 2, so wherever the 2 comes first in the array starting from the 0, it will remove that element. Okay, so remove here works differently in arrays. Let's switch back. So we are done with adding removing element. Let's see how we can access the elements of the array. Okay, so right now we're directly printing the entire array. Let's see if we want to print something else, like if you want to print individual elements for I in range length of x, print, we can simply print x of I. Let's see, 2 to 3 is printed, sorry, 1 2 2 3 is printed. So we can access the element using the index. Okay, so like array name square brackets and its corresponding index. Okay, similarly we can also print the float array. We can see both arrays are printed. So this is how you access the elements using the array. If you want, you can directly access the element. Like if you do not want to iterate through the loop, you can directly access the element like this. It access the element using its index. So next topic is slicing, which is widely used across your projects. What slicing means? Slicing means basically to slice down the array. Okay, so this is widely used because in projects we want to slice some lists. Okay, let's see how we can do that here in Python. So slicing is done using the index options and a colon option. So this will be the start. This will be your end index. Okay, and here this array. Let's try to print the last two elements, 1 comma 2. Okay, here you can see. Mm, wait. Yep, here you can see. This is how slicing work. Okay. if you don't want the end index, you can start from second and you can directly print until the end and leave that end section empty. Okay. If you don't know the start, you can leave the start index and you can print until 2. Here you go. So this is how slicing works in an array. Thank you for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe my channel. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to teach you about enums. So enums were not earlier part of Python, but they were introduced in Python 3.4 and later versions. Okay. So what is an enum? Enum is basically a data structure where you can assign a key, where you can assign a value to the key, and that value works as a constant for that key. You cannot change that value. So suppose you want to you want to give the order to the states of a country, you can assign the enum. So enums were imported as a class. Here you can see I have imported enum class from enum package. So this is the simple example that I have created an enum which is city. Okay, here I have assigned the value of New York City to 1, Chicago to 2, and San Jose to 3. Okay, first of all, let's see what is the type of this city class. Okay. So guys, as you can see, the type is enum.enum meta. Okay, so this is how you can define your enums in Python. You can have like up to 1,000 keys with those values. Okay, let's try to directly print the city and see what does it print. There it is telling you that enum city is of an enum class type. Also enums are iterable, so you can have a for loop over the enum for x in city. Suppose you want to print all the constant values, let's have it print x. You can see it is telling you that it has an NYC key, it has a Chicago, it has a San Jose. Okay, so this is about the enum and how to iterate over the enums. Let's see how we can access the values from the enum. So for accessing the keys, you should know the keys. Let's try to do that. Print city NYC. This is how you can access the key. And if you want to print the value, here you can see on execution it printed the key along with the value of that key. So this is how you can access the members of enum. Now let's see, here we are giving an sequential order, right? Suppose you do not want to maintain this order and you want to define that programmatically. Okay, let's see how we can do that. Okay, for doing that programmatically, you can define your own random number generator function, or you can use the auto module from the enum. I am somehow not able to use import the auto module. You can use that directly simply using importing from enum import auto. Okay, let's see what will happen if we try to assign duplicate values to the key. There you go. The code succeeded. Why? Because two different key can have same values, but we cannot have duplicate keys in enum. You can see. Attempted to reuse key. Here you go. So there's one a property of enum, that enums once initialized cannot be modified because because the enums are treated as constants across all programming languages. Okay. So enum values can be compared against each other and print c.nyc equals to, you can see true is printed, can see. So you can compare the values of enums against each other, not only the values but the keys as well. So if we have two different enums, you can compare them. Okay, so these are some of the properties of enum that I'm explaining. So thank you guys for watching this video. I have purposefully kept this video for too short because enums are not used widely across in Python. So I just kept the scope limited to the basics of enum. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please do like and subscribe my channel.